Hi everybody, Adrian Plass here,
Yes, and Bridget. Hello.
and here we are at number 268 in Sounding the Shallows.
Yeah. And I mean, anybody in England will know this has been a wildly significant week for us, with the Lionesses actually winning the Euros despite and because.
Yeah,
And so there's a sort of celebratory feel, I think,
and the
really.
cricket,
Uh,
which well, it didn't
what-
result in a
exactly.
win, but I mean, very exciting play in the
Yeah.
cricket.
Yes, okay.
Now that we have
I'll go with that.
a leader
I'll go with
who's
that.
got a bit of oomph in his leadership. Anyway, yeah, no, it has.
One of the
I loved watching the Euros. I really
I
enjoyed those
found it very
matches.
stressful. And it's one of those funny things that because I don't think I'm particularly into football or particularly into any sport really, the tension when you watch people playing with all their hearts and all their energy and all their hope and all their determination is
Yeah.
very moving but also very stressful.
Yeah, it is. There was a 19-year-old, wasn't there?
Oh.
Not the English team, but one of the other teams, who failed in her penalty
I
shootout.
know, it's horrible.
Was absolutely devastated.
Horrible. But you know what struck
yeah.
me particularly, Adrian, and I don't know if this is what struck other people, but how, when I say ordinary, I don't mean they are ordinary. The Lionesses are not ordinary. They're pretty special they work so hard, they train so hard, they put everything into it and they care about each other. But essentially they're ordinary. They reminded me of a lot of girls that we've known through our daughter and other people. They're just ordinary.
Well, they reminded me, certainly of our daughter's friends who
Yeah.
are not. I mean, they're really accomplished people in many ways, but
They're
the
down to
essence
earth.
of
Is
them
the essence of them.
is
Yeah.
run wonderfully normal.
Wonderfully normal.
Yeah, it is.
And I think wonderfully normal is a great way to think about something that, we were celebrating all the poems that were sent to us last week. And my goodness, some of them have moved me so much. But we also get sent links to articles by people, and somebody we know quite well sent us an article because she thought we would really relate to something in this article, which was about the way Jesus calls himself the Son of Man. And
Right.
other references are about the Son of Man. I mean, Daniel talks about this figure coming through the clouds like the Son of Man. And I think I'd always sort of thought, I think I was a bit puzzled, really,
So
Adrian.
what do you think he meant by that then?
Well, I mean, I was always a bit puzzled because I thought, well, I know he was the son of a woman, because he was. Jesus was the son of Mary. But he wasn't actually the son of Joseph. So in what way did that mean that he was son of man? And then...
Well, that's an easy one, but we'll leave that till later.
but but I suppose what the writer of this article, and clearly when you look it up it is true, in Hebrew and in Aramaic, when Jesus talks about being the Son of Man, he just means he's a human being. It seemed rather a more mundane way of saying it, but I found that very reassuring.
Why?
Well, I know it's what you've always felt, that, if we take away the idea that Jesus was genuinely a human being, then we
Yeah. It
lose
is
a
one
lot.
of the paradoxes that enchants me
I know.
and eludes me totally. I have no idea what it means, but I think at our peril we ignore or evade the ordinary humanity of Jesus. That's certainly true. I've always tried to pursue that in my thinking and stuff, and not got very far with it, but I think it is important. Yeah.
There's always going to be difficulties, aren't there?
Yeah.
Because there's only one human being who, he's like the special. Who was the football
I
manager?
can't remember his name, the Chelsea manager.
Yeah, well, he was always
Mr.
talking about
Special,
being the
yeah.
special one.
Yeah.
And in a way, however much we allow that Jesus was a human being, he was a bit of a special one, wasn't he?
Well, yes, and normally that would make people really annoyed with him. I mean, there's somebody who never puts the foot wrong doesn't usually tend to go down too well. But something about the way he sorted himself was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And the more you take apart, but the more you look into the story, the only record we have of him.
Well, that is one of the problems.
More bewildering and impressive and startling and puzzling and all of those things is. Yeah, it's very strange.
Well, the writer of this article made another point which confused me more, because he was saying that because he was the eternal Son, the Logos, there at the very beginning, popping up all through the Old Testament, which we've always found intriguing, haven't we? He was like a blueprint for all human beings, and that we were kind of made, it was almost a template for human beings. But I don't find that very easy, really, because, I mean, you know, it's a bit of a spiritual 3D printer. It's a bit faulty, really, because if we were all made in the image of God, then either the machine was faulty, God was faulty, and that's something maybe it's another whole question. But
there is some strange sort of spiritual plumbing goes on here, isn't there? Because
what do you mean?
Well, it never was as simple as that. There's a suggestion that actually in Jesus we live his life.
I'm sorry, I
because he is in us. Jesus says that the Spirit, I have to go because the Spirit has to come.
Right.
And the Spirit will teach you all the truth you need. And so he seems to be saying that
you haven't got it, but
you can't do it, you haven't got it, but don't worry, because I will still be part of you.
Okay.
And when you need to know what to say or where to go, I will be with you. Now, the experience of most Christians is that sometimes that might be true, but quite often it doesn't seem to be.
And at the same time, any idea of cloning, any idea of a sort of, like I say, a spiritual 3D printer that can print out loads of perfect people, removes one of the fundamentals, doesn't it, which is free will. And if Jesus didn't have free will, he wouldn't have been tempted. I mean, there must have been free will in Jesus, that he had to face temptation.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is an absolute farce. Otherwise, we don't want to fast, do we?
No. I mean, you were saying something, you know, you've always felt that truth is liberating, haven't you? Yeah. What was it you were listening to the other day?
I was watching Sarah Cox with
you're watching her, yeah.
Her oldest friend. I'm a bit of a fan of Sarah Cox, really, because I love the breadth of her interest in life.
And if you don't know who she is and you're from another country, it's worth looking her up, because she's so intriguing. She loves books, she loves people, and this is about parenting, isn't it?
Well, this is with her lifelong friend, and their parenting blog isn't about how to be a good parent or how you should change. It's about talking honestly and freely about what happens when you're a parent, and they're both facing the fact that as teenage girls they did things that their parents would have absolutely been horrified by.
And now they've got teenage girls.
Now they've got teenage children. I don't know if they're girls or not, boys. But one of them was saying about one of her teenagers sending her to bed and then going downstairs, and because she was annoyed with her, coming downstairs and looking out the window and seeing her getting into an Uber. I mean, that's... There is something wonderfully liberating about.
I think facing genuine truth. There's something that creates for all of us real community when we share our banana skins. We share the things that have tripped us up. We share, but I don't know whether Jesus quite did that. But he did allow people to question and to think about things, didn't he? So he didn't impose the obvious truth.
No.
He let people kind of work it out. And there's no doubt that for some people it was the equivalent of going and getting an Uber when they were supposed to be doing something else.
Yes.
You know, but there was still a freedom to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, one of the things I always found interesting about the Amish community is that they allow the runaround years, don't they?
Running around time, yeah.
For their teenagers.
Yeah, right,
they let them go. It must be so painful, but we all know how painful it is to let kids go off, and the chances are they're going to get into a mess. But that's part of growing up.
Yeah.
I suppose when we look at the temptations that Jesus faced, you could argue in that desert that it was part of his growing up, that in order to be who he was, he had to face some things that would have been so easy for him. I don't know.
Well, I guess you have to face the fact that, I mean, Jesus said at one point, I haven't come to get rid of the law.
Yeah.
I've come to fulfill it.
Yeah.
But he might well have gone on to say, if you look at the context of what happened, I came in order to be tempted to break the law.
No, what do you mean?
Well, because later on, if you look in Hebrews, that wonderful passage about the high priest who says,
Yeah.
he's been tempted everywhere as we are. The great risk-taking ploy by God is to actually be one,
Yes.
not to play with it.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
look
there's
at
always
it.
going to be challenges for us, aren't there? Because Jesus didn't fail. You know, he did carry it through. He did. And the other thing that I think is intriguing is that he seems to have both hats on quite comfortably. You know, I saw a man wearing a T-shirt the other day, Ed, and it just said, I have two titles, father and stepfather, and I'm up for both of them. And I thought, when I was thinking about this, that Jesus was a bit like that. I mean, he says, I have two. I'm a human being, but I'm also the Son of God. And every now and then, like when he was talking to Nicodemus, there's no doubt that he's quite comfortable to hold both of those things together.
Yeah.
You know, that he says no one's ever gone into heaven except the one who came from heaven, the Son of Man, this human being. Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, that everyone who believes may have eternal life in him. And then the famous phrase, for God so loved the world, that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world. I mean, you know, so Jesus held these two things quite comfortably.
Well, I don't know if he was comfortable with them.
Okay.
In fact, I think quite often he wasn't comfortable at all in his life.
No, that's probably the wrong word.
But he had to live with them. I have a
But we have a tension, don't we? Because we either want to think of him as the Son of God or as a human being. We find it extremely difficult to...
I think people have always found it difficult, and I'm always quoting dear old Chesterton saying the three words that no one can handle. He became man. It's something. It's so. But when you think of that French phrase, what is it? To comprendre, il est to.
Pardonner.
So what?
Say it again more fluently. Come on.
It's
a beautiful phrase.
To comprendre, il est to pardonner. So it's saying to understand is to forgive. The great mission of Jesus was to find out what it means to be a person.
Yeah.
And in the course of being tempted, it's the greatest act of we've been talking about wild cards. It's the wild card of God that he becomes a man.
I know.
It's a very strange thing to do.
Well, I mean...
But because of that, he's able to say, come and see me,
Yeah.
because I truly, truly understand
Yeah.
what it means.
Yeah.
The logic of that
No.
from someone who's supposed to be omniscient, omnis,
I know.
don't ask me, but there's something profoundly interesting about it.
Well, I mean, we know that God was God, so powerful, so impossible to imagine. You know that. I mean, there's that whole story, isn't there, about within the story of Moses about God only being able to pass by in a particular way, showing his back, because otherwise it would burn him. So we get the fact that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. And you had a go at that, didn't you? You had a go at
Writing about
thinking,
it.
what does that mean, that
Yeah.
Jesus was the image of the invisible God? Why don't you read it?
Well, it's a typical thing, really,
Sort of list,
that I
isn't
write,
it?
where I make a list of a load of stuff that everybody knows, and it sort of turns into a sort of poem or something. Anyway, this was it. And it's about Jesus. A lover of nature, committed, aggressive, accessible, uncompromising, strangely meek, a storyteller, master of timing, hard-working, relaxed, emotional, passionate, compassionate, prayerful, a radical, a wit, good son, good friend. He enjoyed parties. He relished, I don't by the way, he relished the company of people, but he did not trust the hearts of men. Filled with sadness, filled with joy, filled with love, filled with frustration. He adored children because they reminded him of home. He broke his own rules. He was angry with enemies and disciples. Happy to get down on his knees to wash feet. A man with secret friends. Needy, troubled, terrified. Obedient, lost and lonely, neglected and very badly hurt. So courageous, unpredictable, dead, alive, triumphant, forgiving, loves the lost. A man who knows how to cook fish. Image of the invisible God.
It's more than a list, isn't it? I mean, I know you spent a long time thinking about it, and it does conjure up something pretty extraordinary. And what I was interested when I was thinking about this, Adrian, is, I mean, presumably we don't all have to know how to cook fish in order to.
Oh,
well,
I
hope
think
not,
we
anyway.
do.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we
No.
don't.
Well, I'm out if we do.
Well, and I'm out as well in a way, because I'm very happy to cook salmon because it comes in nice neat strips.
I love the salmon you
I
cook.
hate cutting the heads off fish, and I hate the eyes of fish staring at me, and I don't like it at all. But let's look at some of the other ones, because what struck me was, you know, that losing that image that we are created perfect. We are given natural characteristics, maybe genetically or maybe our environment or whatever. So some of those things we can tune into quite comfortably and naturally.
What, some of the aspects of
Yes,
him?
some of the aspects of Jesus. And then there's some, I think, that we desperately need topping up. We would like to be more passionate and more compassionate. We'd like to be able to take on our enemies more fiercely. We'd like to be able to cook fish. No, but you know what I mean. There are things that, and then there are some things that just seem beyond us. Are there anything of those aspects that you feel, well, I don't think I'll ever manage to be like
Well,
that?
I think
Apart
most
from
of
the
them.
fish.
But I tell you the truth, it no longer troubles me very much, I have to say. Because I don't think, for most of my time in which I've called myself a Christian, that I have fully understood that that is the way it is. And that I am not called to be Jesus. I am called to be a means by which he can still walk the streets and do stuff and help people even if it's only in a small way. But it
That's
will not be
interesting,
done
really.
by me becoming a good person
No.
or a better person. Hopefully, I'm all for that happening, but it isn't going to happen in the sense that when you talked about a template, we're not going to match that. It isn't.
No, we're not.
It isn't going to happen. But
No.
the thunderous cry from the heavens is, it was never meant to.
No.
That's not what happens. What happens is that, like dear old Elijah, when the Spirit is in you, you go and do incredible stuff. Or small stuff, doesn't matter what it is.
Well, it can be huge for you, even if it might look
exactly.
ridiculously small
Yeah,
for someone else. I mean, I don't have agoraphobia. I can walk down my path. I can open my gate.
yeah.
That's not a challenge. But for somebody who does have that particular thing, that is a huge challenge.
Yeah, it is,
And
yeah.
so we can never fully understand what the challenges are that we personally are facing.
But
I understand exactly what you're saying about it not being something, it's not being achievement based. But on the other hand, we do want to be a little bit more like him.
but that's another thing. I mean, we've often said God loves you exactly as you are, and far too much to leave you as you are. But I think, through the relationship, and this is true for me now, through the relationship, that's the only way things change in you, really.
It is.
You can struggle like mad at things, but in the end, if you love someone, you want to be somebody who they, I don't know, somebody who they want. I don't know, even that's not true. I don't mean that. But I think this we were the other day when we were reading the bit where Paul says, I had a thorn in the flesh, and he says it tormented me. It tormented me.
And it wasn't taken away.
It was not taken away. And in the end he realized, and it kind of sounds corny nowadays because we hear it so often, that he's got the strength, God's strength was made strong in his weakness. But the acceptance of that is very hard for human beings.
Well, it is hard. It's hard. It is hard. We'd like a few more miracles with our personalities and our general who we are, so that we could be a little bit more easily. But there we are. Anyway, we'd love to hear what you have to say about all this.
Now that we've sorted it out and solved it.
And thank you to the person who sent us the article,
Yes,
which
thank you
triggered
very
this
much.
all off.
And for all these poems.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Really great.
Yeah. And it's not too late. I mean, you can always send us one now, and we'll talk to you next week. Good
We
night.
will. Yeah. Bye-bye.